this is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
That is absolutely insane.
That was insane.
Whoa, that's actually insane.
That is insane.
Absolutely
It's
insane.
actually insane.
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 This is it, team. The key to getting more views. Everything is insane. Mel Gibson? Insane. Perpetual contracts? Insane. Delivery drivers? Insane. Air Bud? Insane. The situation is insane.
And what is your name, sir?
Situation.
Huh?
Situation.
I'm sorry, what exactly in your video is insane?
Literally anything. Name something.
Elon Musk?
Yes, Elon is insane. Good. What else?
Artificial intelligence?
Yes, AI and Elon are both insane. Great.
Titties.
Yes, AI Elon with big old titties. That's the thumbnail.
React content is one of the biggest genres on the internet. It dominates our feeds, fills our recommendations, and racks up billions of views. But it's also no stranger to controversy. Critics point to its algorithmic saturation, its exploitation, and its tendency towards clickbaity sensationalism.
Whoa, that's actually insane.
The drama isn't new. It seems like every couple of years someone comes along and just reignites the same old debate. Whether it was the Fine brothers who tried to trademark React content back in 2016,
And what we've realized is that we completely screwed up.
or just a few years ago when Jax Films declared war on Sniper Wolf.
She steals TikToks and reacts to them.
This launched what was known as ReactGate that has had an impact to this day. H3H3, or Ethan Klein, is currently suing 3 creators for reacting to his content. Who knows what's going to come of these lawsuits, but so far every time this issue was brought up, nothing ever really changes. So maybe we need to take a different approach that has a different kind of analysis. The kind of analysis I specialize on this channel. Oh yeah! I'm not an algorithm critic, a content critic, or a YouTube drama critic. I'm a meaning critic. I want to analyze what React content means to us as viewers. Why do we love watching people watch people? While there are probably reforms worth making in the system, and those who are knowledgeable about that should continue to push for it, that's not what this video is about. This video is about you and me, the audience who chooses day in and day out to return to this kind of content. React content seems to fill a void deeper than entertainment, deeper than even psychology or sociology. It speaks to something existential.
Great work, team. We've successfully changed every title on the channel to being insane. But now we need to capitalize. Here, check this out.
Blockading all food into Gaza in May.
Right there, did you see that?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't see anything.
Exactly. Nothing happened, and it has so many views.
So, nothing to research?
Nope.
Wait, we don't have to spend money?
Nope. No effort, no budget, no thinking. It's the perfect formula for success. All you gotta do is take someone else's content and make it your content.
In 2011, as React content was on the rise, an article was released in the New York Times titled Watching People, Watching People, Watching. In it, the writer Sam Anderson used phrases like universality of human nature or recapturing primary experience, all as a means to describe the cultural phenomenon that was sweeping the nation in React content. One of the shared attributes of all the greatest works of art in human history is their ability to reach into the depths of our reality and reveal to us the most profound universal and primary aspects of our existence. What I'm saying is that React content creators are akin to Michelangelo, Beethoven, Shakespeare.
The problem with this is no one would fall for this, that it's real.
Now, React content might not be your typical idea of art, but we'll see in just a moment that it shares its essential function. I mean, at a high level, publishing a reaction to a particular work isn't anything new. In Sam Anderson's article in the New York Times, he claims that every image of a human ever is of a human reacting to something. If you're still not sold, the 20th century philosopher Alfred North Whitehead famously stated that European philosophy is all just basically footnotes to Plato. In other words, all the philosophers in the Western world are just a bunch of Plato compilation React content creators. Now, new and ancient images of people or academic commentaries on philosophy or religion have some obvious differences to the React content of today. The modern golden age of the internet produces a unique form of React content that's a combination of imagery and commentary, but turned up to a whole other level of intensity. The first glimpses of this kind of content can be traced back to Japanese television in the early 70s with what was known as a waipu box. This was a tiny box on the screen that showed the faces of guests as they watched videos or certain live events. This format was far ahead of its time and eventually replicated by literally everyone. But before that became popular, there was the simple standalone reaction video. Its origin on YouTube has been traced back 19 years ago to a video titled Nintendo 64. The video is not a performance, but a genuine contagious joy of two kids on a Christmas morning. It didn't go viral because it was shocking, it went viral because it was human. For the next decade, the internet exploded trying to recreate this kind of authenticity, though not always with the same kind of innocence. Reaction trends like Scary Maze Game or Two Girls, One Cup were viral sensations that swept over the internet. But just one reaction isn't enough for our culture of excess. We had to throw in our own version of a waipu box so that we could also witness someone's reaction to the reaction. Yes. This modern format is what most people think of when one refers to react content. But from what I've just laid out, it can be seen in a variety of different mediums, all with different modes of expression. While this video will be a specific analysis of the modern format we're all familiar with, many of its ideas can be applied to any piece of content that's designed to use human reactions as its primary source of engagement. Things like Mr. Beast putting people in outrageous situations, or an academic who explicates a given text. When you think about it, there's so much content that hinges on our desire for reaction. Reality TV shows, YouTube drama, political debates.
They're eating the dogs.
There are a lot of theories that try to explain why people watch what they watch, but almost all of them agree that we don't passively select our media. Rather, we decide which media to engage with for the purpose of satisfying certain needs, such as cognitive, social, emotional, or entertainment needs. If I were to do a react content iceberg, because I know that's what you all love, just below the surface we'd have our desire for reaction. This desire would then be founded on our fundamental human needs, like the ones I just discussed. And founded on these fundamental needs, there's but one layer even deeper: meaning making. From an early age, we learn how to make sense of the world by mirroring the reactions of others. This is a well-documented phenomenon that is part of a theory known as social learning. Children, for example, will look at their parents' faces to decide whether they should laugh, cry, or feel afraid. That same unconscious instinct follows us into adulthood, where much of our meaning making is done through observing and imitating others. In the digital age, creators and commentators become guides that teach us what to think, what to value, and what to feel. Through all of this, we make sense of ourselves, others, the world, and the way all of those things interact. Meaning making is a fundamental aspect of our cognition, so react content doesn't just merely recapture experience, as Sam Anderson puts it. As viewers, we unconsciously participate in a primary experience ourselves. This is something universal to human nature, beyond the desire for reaction, beyond basic human needs. Meaning making is an essential part of your existence. React content as a meaning making device is art. The reactions we consume are a means of sharing, interpreting, and creating meaning. This is the essential function of art. However, as viewers, it's important to be aware of what separates react content from other kinds of art. You see, when you come across a brilliant painting, you don't just look at the painting, you look through it and into the infinite possibilities of meaning making. It creates a space for your own interpretation that can elicit something beyond the painting itself. It could provide you a new experience, inspire a new idea, or reveal a new perspective. You can then embody this new meaning, put it out in the world, and from that painting, you've now produced your very own reaction. Now you might see what I'm getting at here. Your own subjective reaction to a work of art makes you a participant in its meaning-making process. But as viewers of react content, the participation is already done for us. It's not creating a space for us to do any kind of interpretation or embodiment of our own. There's nothing to look through, just something to look at. We get the product of the meaning-making process without going through any of that process ourselves. So we have to ask, what are we participating in as viewers? What kind of meaning can react content actually make?
That's it. That's it. That's it!
Boss, are you okay?
I finally found him.
Who exactly have you found?
The one who will take us to the promised land. Our savior.
Jesus?
Silence! There was but one God here. The algorithm. And he will lead us to it. A man who is beyond commentary, beyond critique, beyond irony. A man who is meta. A man who has been written about by every great video essayist who has ever existed. Bo Burnham.
In Bo Burnham's critically acclaimed comedy special, Inside, he does a bit titled Unpaid Intern. It begins with him singing a song about the exploitation of unpaid interns. It then cuts to a different scene where he gives his reaction to the song. to which he then does a reaction to his reaction, and then a reaction to the reaction of his reaction. In total, he gives 3 different layers of reaction, all with different layers of meaning. In other videos of mine, I've discussed what I call the 3 levels of meaning. There are 3 levels of meaning that's communicated in every story. There's the individual level that offers meaning to us personally in our everyday lives. Then there's the collective level that offers meaning to society, things like our culture and politics. And then lastly, there's what I call the mythos level, which offers meaning about reality itself. In the unpaid intern bit, each of the 3 reactions provides an analysis that corresponds with each of the 3 levels of meaning. The first reaction is meaning at the collective level, where he analyzes certain labor practices in our culture.
So the idea with this song was basically that there are so many songs in the past about working class jobs, but not a lot about the labor exploitation of the modern world.
The reaction to his reaction is meaning at the individual level, where he analyzes his own psychology.
Being a little pretentious, it's an instinct I have where I need everything that I write to have some deeper meaning or something.
And finally, the reaction of his reaction to the reaction is meaning at the mythos level, where his analysis reaches a level of total existential awareness.
This is really, really disturbing. I don't like looking at myself like this, and I want this to stop. Okay, I want this to stop. I'm stopping this. So yeah, that was my reaction.
Any meaning analysis can be done at one of the levels or 2 of the levels, but Bo Burnham breaks it down at all 3. By doing so, we get an insight into the kind of meaning online React content offers us. He could start anywhere, but it's no coincidence that he starts at the collective level. By its very own nature, React content is collective. It requires at least 2 parties, one party that is the source of the original content and another party who is reacting to that content. It also speaks to how React content tends to be very political. For many, its collective nature creates a space for social critique and also social interaction. During the COVID pandemic in 2020, the quarantine mandate seen across the globe led to a spike in all online content, but especially React content. Note that Bo Burnham created this bit during the pandemic because he picked up on this phenomenon. This period of heightened isolationism led many to look online to fulfill their basic social needs and desire for reaction. Not only does watching someone react give a sense of social interaction, but you can also leave a comment to which they'll probably never see or reply to. Better yet, you can comment on someone else's comment where there's sure to be a deeply satisfying interaction. Speaking of which, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to satisfy you. Yes.
Childish Gambino looks like he tried to suck his own a few times.
Some creators even offer the opportunity for you to get an exclusive social interaction for a small price. Damn. Honestly, it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. If there's something that you're passionate about, but you don't find commonality with it and the people around you, there's a good chance someone online has a channel dedicated to that same passion. It could be a creator with your shared love of K-pop, or a creator who shares your political view. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a shared topic of interest. You could care less about the topic, but find a connection in the way they express themselves. This is the meaning-making power of React content for us as viewers. It creates a space to give us an opportunity to find like-minded individuals and develop a sense of community. We might not be able to participate in the meaning-making process of the content itself, but we can participate in the online community that the content creates a space for. There's more we could dive into with this sense of community, but for now, I want to continue looking at the other levels of meaning to see what's missing. In Bo Burnham's unpaid intern bit, notice that the first reaction is the only reaction that's true to the experience of React content. This is the standard React content format, not this or this. Once he goes further and gives us a reaction to his reaction and more, we now get something that's not true to the experience. This can be paralleled to the meaning it offers as React content goes no further than the collective level. As we watch him literally zoom out, he moves into absurdity and shows us what is lacking, beginning with individual meaning. Individual meaning making is the process of your identity formation. It's about becoming who you are through things like introspection and self-awareness. But React content doesn't ask us to become anything. It's tailored to meet us where we're currently at. Now, creators might shift their identity to reach their target audience, but for us as viewers, there's no call to look within and become something different than who we already are. No one stumbles upon a woodworking channel and suddenly decides, you know what, I'm gonna quit my 9-to-5 and become a lumberjack. No, you stumble upon a woodworking channel because you already enjoy working with wood. Pause. We click on the things we identify with and click off the things that we don't. All of the algorithms are built around this fundamental idea. For us as viewers, React content isn't a means of identity formation, but purely a means of identity validation. There isn't a call to self-discovery, it's just self-affirmation. Of course, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It can help you excel in your current identity. But understand that that's an additive process. You're just adding on to who you already are, rather than a meaning-making process where you become something other than who you already are. The problem is that if all you ever consume is additive, that can be dangerous. The danger reaches its heights at the final level of meaning we'll be looking at. At the end of the unpaid intern bit, Bo Burnham gives a reaction of his reaction to his reaction, which ends in an existential crisis.
Look, I want this to stop. I'm stopping this.
The dread he feels is not unfamiliar to those who have dared to view meaning from the mythos level. It's a level of total awareness. It's aware of both the collective and individual meaning, but it goes beyond just knowing who you are or where you belong. It's a greater awareness of the why, the underlying beliefs, values, or feelings, and all that stuff that make you do what you do. It looks at reality from the outside in so that you can go beyond your identity, your community, and reflect on them at a cosmic scale. All of this plays the existentially necessary role of helping you avoid bullshit. Bullshit! React content is full of bullshit and bullshit artists. The kind of bullshit I'm talking about that's broken down by my boy Harry G is not the same thing as lying. A lie tries to convince you of something other than the truth. Bullshit tries to be as catchy, captivating, or outrageous as possible so that you're no longer concerned for the truth at all. React content isn't concerned with truth. There's no call to us as viewers for any kind of deeper awareness of ourselves, our community, or reality itself. Its only concern is to capture our engagement. React content does not choose you. You choose the React content. Knowing this, reactors are incentivized to tell you what you already believe, value what you value, and feel the way you feel. They design their content, their identity, and their communities around you because they know that's what you're gonna choose to click on. With every conscious click that we make, React content is just an extension of ourselves. Each one of us becomes trapped within an epistemic bubble designed for us and chosen by us. At the mythos level, we go to React content not for a greater awareness of reality, but to remain in the reality we already know. At the individual level, we go to React content not for identity formation, but purely identity validation. At the collective level, we go to it to find others who are like-minded, and here at least we can say meaning-making is being done through the formation of a community. However, let's zoom out for a sec. When you participate in a community whose terms are designed for you and chosen by you, well, all you're really participating with is you.
I don't know, guys. Nothing seems to be working. Listen, I know you all see me as this alpha male that has a lot of sex with women, but deep down, I just want people to like me. So I want to open this up to some honest conversation. Speak freely, whatever it is.
Yeah, my last paycheck bounced. I was wondering.
Please, please. This is about me right now. Don't let my dominant presence intimidate you.
Well, maybe you could try being less you.
Less me?
Yeah, change who you are to be more like them.
What exactly would I change?
You could change how you dress.
I say strip it
You
all.
could change your background.
Way too much of you in
You
that.
need some socio-political messaging.
Yes, but something everyone can
Can't
agree
get
on.
too controversial.
Oh yeah, I just got back from the gym, yeah. At Equinox, yeah. Oh, you too? Type shit, bro, type shit. We could like spot each other or some shit, bro. Oh, this? Oh, yeah, bro. F***ing hate terrorism, bro. Shit, bro, type shit, bro. They be killing people type shit, bro. Hey, we gonna do something about it though. We gonna change the world though, you know? The Society of Authenticity is a performance society. All members perform themselves. All produce themselves. Everyone pays homage to the cult of the self, the worship of the self in which everyone is his or her own priest. If you didn't know any better, you might think that that quote is talking about all the creators we watch on our TVs, computers, or smartphones, but no. He's talking about all of us. Not just the performers on screen, but those who watch the performers. In his book, The Disappearance of Rituals, Byung-Chul Han has an entire chapter dedicated to our society's love of authenticity. We like to be around people who are authentic, follow people who we believe to be authentic, and we dedicate ourselves to being authentic. Our existence in the Western world as we know it lives in servitude to the cult of authenticity. Han is very critical of this cult, saying that the compulsion of authenticity leads to narcissistic introspection, a permanent occupation with one's own psychology. As a Westerner myself, this type of criticism is tough to get my head around. I've personally found a lot of benefits through self-reflection, and there's even science to back those benefits. However, Hahn observes the damage done when a society becomes wholly consumed with one's own psychology and doesn't properly view it within a greater environment. There might be no better place for us to see us worship the cult of authenticity than in React content. The popular appeal of the modern format gives us an exceptional look into the nature of authenticity in our culture. While older formats of React content largely consisted of a reactor who was unaware that their reaction was being recorded, modern React content consists of a reactor who is fully aware that their reaction is being recorded. What we're viewing is no longer pure authenticity, but performed authenticity. The performance of authenticity is one of the largest determining factors for viewer engagement. The more it's able to give off the appearance of being authentic, the better. We need to believe that their reaction isn't staged or scripted. We need to believe that the crash out is real. We need to believe that these are their own thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. We need to believe that they are being who they are and not someone else. However, the reality is that it's a performance, and not of their own authenticity. It's not them, it's us, the audience who chooses to engage with them. This creates a very unique kind of exchange between reactors and viewers. There's a great essay written by Cameron Cox at Brigham Young University called Not Acting, Reacting, an analysis of reaction videos, reactors, viewers, and authenticity. In it, he breaks down the exchange that takes place via the performance of authenticity. Through its performance, he shows that authenticity becomes something like a commodity. There's nothing hidden about the fact that popular React content is monetized. Our views enable them to get sponsorships, run ads, or you might even pay them direct. However, what are we getting in return? Cox writes, the monetization of reaction begs the question, what is the viewer gaining? More and more clearly, reaction videos seem to be attempting to replicate the experience of sharing live community via the performance of authenticity. The transaction that takes place between reactors and viewers is one where we pay our time, money, and attention in exchange for the experience of community. This lines up exactly with what we just looked at a moment ago, but now we can look a little closer. When we participate in a community that's created via the performance of authenticity, this now calls into question our own authenticity. Performed authenticity becomes an act of worship, not only for reactors, but also the viewers. For everyone within the cult of authenticity, each individual is its own center. Through introspection and self-psychoanalysis, we create our very own identity. This identity is the sole lens through which we view reality and is the basis for the community we participate with. Our lives are built on nothing more than our own authenticity, turning our actions into nothing more than a performance of that authenticity. For this reason, Hahn in The Disappearance of Rituals claims that authenticity is in fact the enemy of community. To him, a fundamental aspect of community is that it allows us to have interactions that are external to us. We can encounter other perspectives and experiences that afford other means of looking at the world and forming our identity. The creation of the self, however, must not be self-centered. It has to take place against the backdrop of a social horizon of meaning that gives the act of self-creation a relevance that transcends the self. In React content, the distance between us and the people we view online gives us this feeling that we're interacting with a broader horizon of meaning that transcends the self. But the performance of authenticity shows us that that isn't reality. Reactors have the intention to give you the reaction you desire, fulfill your needs, and make the meaning you've already made. This all then gets packaged up and commodified in the form of a community to sell us who we already are.
Yay, capitalism!
A community created via the performance of authenticity becomes nothing more than just a space for us to perform authenticity ourselves. The infinite choices that the internet provides for us allows you to perform whoever and whatever you want to be without any repercussions. You never have to have anyone challenge your views. You don't have to risk the emotional uncertainty of entering into a relationship with someone. Shit, you don't even have to see whether or not your political ideology actually works. You can live in absolute comfort and control in the abstract world of your own unbothered, subjective imagination. The social interactions in React content are not a true externalized form of interaction. Their performance of authenticity just creates a performance of community. When performing an authenticity, reaction videos hope to mimic communal consumption, though the sense of community formed through engaging with reaction is just that. A sense. Now, I don't want this to be the kind of critique that tells you about some unconscious activity that you have no control over and can do nothing about, but then ask you to commit yourself to eradicating it from your life and all of society. I'm looking at you, critical theorists. That would be to ignore the reality that A, it's not all bad, and B, it's definitely not going anywhere. For one, there are a lot of reactors who are incredibly skilled and knowledgeable on a given topic. Viewing people like this can be a great place to develop skills and knowledge of your own on things that you're interested and passionate about. And if you don't know anyone in your local area who shares some of your deepest interests and passions, it can be great to find an online community who does. React content is here to stay, and I think it's more valuable to learn how to put it in its proper place and find its proper use in our lives rather than just rid it from life completely. The danger is that our culture has become imbalanced and reduced community to a mere performance of authenticity. We tilted the scale far in favor of additive processes over meaning-making processes. The cult of authenticity just adds onto the self whatever the self decides, and our communities reflect that. Communication is breaking down before our very own eyes. As things become more polarized, individuals only join communities that affirm the world as they see it, and society becomes an alienated mess of people living in their own self-determined reality. I talk about self-discovery quite a bit on this channel, but I've always been intentional to add that you have to take what's internal and test it against external reality. True meaning making is not just a one-sided bottom-up process of merely looking within. It's a process of negotiation with reality, both bottom-up and top-down. What you come up with internally has to face what's external so that you can create a space for self-correction and overcoming all the bullshit. One of the greatest human inventions for this kind of testing is community. Communities give the capacity to engage with a reality other than ourselves, other perspectives, other experiences, other reactions, and not the kind where you're alone in the comfort of your own home with the ability to just turn it off. That's your cue to turn off this video, because I'm about to tell you something you probably don't want to hear. React content and its communities isn't real human interaction. A good community isn't a spitting image of yourself, and sometimes it gets disagreeable, uncomfortable, and ugly. However, that's where true growth and meaning-making happens. A community should create a space where trusted individuals can come together and allow each other to be wrong and make mistakes, while also allowing themselves to be critiqued and corrected. React content might not check off all the boxes of a high-quality community, but it still has its place and uses. While it might not be the best to help you transform your identity, it can be a great place to add on and develop who you already are. Take that and properly place it so that your life has a balance of identity validation and identity formation. Finally, use React content as a tool to enter into community rather than let it be community itself. There's no questioning its power to connect you with others, so use its online medium to create real relationships. Let it be a means of leading you to interact with real people, form real communities, and engage with real reactions. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you next time.
So what you gotta do is put boobies in the thumbnail, hashtag boobies, and then post the boobies at exactly 6 p.m.
Bro, do you talk about anything else?
I mean, what else would I talk about?
Music, sports, hobbies, normal people shit?
Hobbies? What would I even say?
Just take an interest in other people. Ask them about the kind of things they like to do and don't be a dick about it.